Hey guys, this is the 12th video in the Great Spiritual Awakening series. Today we're going to talk about whether multiple universes exist. This video has 3 parts. First, we'll learn about the multiverse and parallel universes. Then, we'll learn about evidence of reincarnation and we'll learn a short story of reincarnation. And after, we'll learn why reincarnation means the multiverse cannot exist. Now let's begin. Part 1. For many years, people have wondered what exists beyond our universe. Are there other universes that exist outside of the one that we live in? Many scientists believe this is the case. The multiverse is the idea that our universe exists inside of a bubble, but there are many other universes that exist in their own bubbles. Each bubble represents a universe. Scientists like the multiverse for 3 main reasons. First, they like the multiverse because it is an explanation for what was happening before the existence of our universe. In the multiverse, there were other universes existing before our universe came into existence. Second, scientists like the multiverse because it explains why the laws of physics are the way they are. People don't know why the laws of physics are the way they are, but in the multiverse, there are countless universes with laws of physics that are different than ours, and there are countless universes with laws of physics that are the same as ours. All the different possibilities may be happening in the multiverse. And third, scientists like the multiverse because it explains what goes on outside of our universe. The multiverse isn't one idea, it's actually many different ideas. Different scientists have come up with their own versions of the multiverse. According to some scientists, there are around 10 to the power of 500 different types of universes, but many scientists believe there are an infinite number of universes. There are also many scientists who believe in parallel universes. Meet Sally. Sally is a doctor. According to the multiverse, there may be universes where Sally is a lawyer and not a doctor. There may be universes where Sally is a clown. And there may be universes where Sally is a serial killer. In the multiverse, all the different possibilities are taking place. And because the laws of physics may be different in some of the universes, there may be strange things happening in other universes. For example, Sally may be able to jump really high for a really long time, and she may be able to hold her breath underwater for hours, and the list goes on and on. But the question is, does the multiverse exist? I strongly believe the multiverse doesn't exist, and I believe understanding consciousness is the key to understanding that the multiverse does not exist. Part 2. Now let's briefly learn about evidence of reincarnation. At the University of Virginia, there are over 2,500 documented cases of children who remember their past lives, and about 1,500 of these cases have been verified. Many of the children remember the names of past life family and friends. They remember the locations of their past life homes. They remember what the homes looked like when they lived in them. They remember family events and family secrets. What's more, in about 35% of the cases, the children have birthmarks and/or birth defects in the same locations as past life injuries. Now let's learn about one reincarnation case. Purnima Ekanayak was born in northern Sri Lanka in 1987. When she was young, Purnima began talking about her past life. She said she was a man who sold incense sticks on his bicycle, but one day she was run over by a large vehicle. She said she sold the incense brands Ambiga and Getapika. These brands were not sold in the area that Purnima lived in. She said she had 2 wives, and one of the wives was named Kasumi. She said her mother's name was Simona, and she had 2 younger brothers. Also, she said she only attended school up to the 5th grade, and the school was a 2-story building. All of these statements were later proven true. When Purnima was watching a documentary about the Kelaniya temple, Purnima said, "I lived on the other side of the river." It is worth noting that Purnima's past life home was about 145 miles away from where she lived. Purnima's parents worked at a school, and one day Purnima's father hired a man named Sumana Siri. Sumana Siri visited Kelaniya on the weekends. When Purnima's father told Sumana Siri about his daughter's claims, Sumana Siri, who was a skeptic of reincarnation, decided to investigate Purnima's statements. Surprisingly, he found a person who matched the description of who Purnima claimed to be in her past life. Sumanasiri told Purnima's father this information, and the father decided to take Purnima to Kelanaya to meet her past life family. When Purnima visited her past life home, she identified her past life brother-in-law, and she even knew his name. Wujisiri was the brother-in-law of Jinadasa Pereira, and Jinadasa was the man who sold incense sticks, but he was run over by a large vehicle. Interestingly, Purnima knew that the design on the packages of the incense sticks were changed since the death of her past life. Surprisingly, she talked about a time when Wujisiri injured his knee, and she said that she had applied medicine to his knee in her past life. What's more, Purnima asked about her past life friends such as Somasiri and Padmasiri, and she identified her past life younger sister, Violet. Because Purnima knew many things about the life and death of Jinadasa Pereira, Jinadasa's family became convinced that Purnima was the reincarnation of Jinadasa. Furthermore, Purnima knew how to make incense sticks, even though no one taught her how to make it, and not even her parents knew how to make incense sticks. According to the autopsy report of Jinadasa Pereira, a large vehicle ran over Jinadasa and his left lower ribs were crushed. This is how he died. Similarly, Purnima was born with multiple birthmarks on her left lower ribs. Keep in mind, about 35% of the children who remember their past lives have birthmarks and/or birth defects in the same locations as past life injuries. Part 3. Evidence of reincarnation means that consciousness existed before birth and consciousness survives death. What's more, it means that consciousness is neither created nor destroyed. A pregnant mother cannot create consciousness, and a fetus cannot create consciousness. Consciousness cannot be created at all. Therefore, reincarnation is the only way for the newborn to have consciousness. If consciousness is neither created nor destroyed, then that means there is a finite and constant number of conscious beings in the universe. In other words, you cannot increase the number of conscious beings in the universe. But in the multiverse, the number of conscious beings is constantly increasing because universes are constantly being created, and many of them have conscious beings in them. Now let's look at the difference between a universe with reincarnation and the multiverse. First, let's look at reincarnation. Here, you can see that animals are reincarnating into different animals, but the number of conscious beings remains constant and finite. In other words, there is no increase in the number of conscious beings. Now take a look at the multiverse. The red bubble represents universes with conscious beings, and the black bubble represents universes without any conscious beings. As you can see, the number of conscious beings is constantly increasing because more and more universes are coming into existence, and some of these universes contain conscious beings. Now let's look at the graphical difference between a universe with reincarnation and the multiverse. On the left, you can see the number of conscious beings remains constant throughout time because consciousness is neither created nor destroyed. But on the right is the multiverse, and as you can see, the number of conscious beings is constantly increasing in the multiverse because more and more universes are coming into existence, and many of them contain conscious beings, which means consciousness is being created in the multiverse. If reincarnation is real, then you cannot have a multiverse because reincarnation means consciousness cannot be created and it cannot be destroyed. But in the multiverse, the number of conscious beings is constantly increasing, which means consciousness is constantly being created. The problem is, many scientists don't realize the multiverse is impossible because they believe consciousness is merely created by brain activity. In the multiverse, there may be universes where people can walk on water, and there may be universes where people can walk on clouds, and in the multiverse there may be talking snakes, and because the laws of physics can be different in different universes, there may be universes with planets that are flat. Some scientists might say none of this is possible in the multiverse, but do they say that because they have mathematical models that show these things are impossible and they have strong evidence for their mathematical models? Or do they say that because they hate religion and they don't want to associate science with religion? It seems like science is becoming a religion. People used to say, I'll start eating vegetables when pigs fly. What they're saying is that they'll never eat vegetables because pigs can't fly. The idea of a pig flying is so ridiculous that people say that to mean they will never do something such as eat vegetables. But in the multiverse, there may be pigs that fly. Where do we draw the line and say that is not possible? The multiverse seems like an idea that makes everything or pretty much everything possible. Because so many well-respected scientists believe in the multiverse, the bar for proving the multiverse is set really low. Here's what I mean. A few years ago, scientists used satellites to look at the radiation in outer space. They found regions with a bit less radiation than other regions. Simply put, they found areas that are a bit cooler than other areas. Some scientists believe this is evidence of the multiverse. They say this is evidence that another universe collided with our universe. This is what I mean when I say the bar for proving the multiverse is set very low. A few cold regions in space is seen as evidence for an infinite number of universes and parallel universes. The American astronomer Carl Sagan once said, "Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence." The multiverse makes many extraordinary claims, but this is not extraordinary evidence. By contrast, the bar for proving reincarnation is set impossibly high because many of the well-respected scientists don't believe in reincarnation. Even though we have children who make many correct statements about their past lives, including naming past life family and friends, and stating past life family secrets, and even though many of the children have rare birthmarks and/or birth defects in the same locations as past life injuries, all of this evidence is rejected by many of the well-respected scientists because they are uncomfortable with the idea of eternal consciousness. This is what I mean when I say the bar for proving reincarnation is set impossibly high. Reincarnation is a part of science because there are children who make statements about their past lives, and those statements are testable, reproducible, and falsifiable. By contrast, the multiverse isn't science because it isn't testable, it's not reproducible, and it's not falsifiable. You see, just because many well-respected scientists reject reincarnation, that doesn't mean reincarnation isn't a part of science. And just because they accept the multiverse, that doesn't mean the multiverse is a part of science. Now here's my question to you. Is it more reasonable to believe there are countless universes, possibly an infinite number of universes, with many of the universes containing different laws of physics and parallel universes? Or is it more reasonable to believe in reincarnation? What does the evidence point to? Scientists say the universe is much larger than what we can see, but I disagree. If life is a dream created by our minds, then the universe is not larger than what we can see. I strongly believe life is a dream created by our minds, and I've made several videos explaining this. I will link those videos in the description below. In my opinion, the problem is that we have so many scientists who believe in the multiverse and who say it exists, but we're not having a conversation about why it doesn't exist. We're not talking about the evidence of reincarnation and what the evidence indicates. We need ideas that challenge the way we think about our world, but in my opinion, those ideas aren't getting enough attention. Hey guys, if you're looking for a thought-provoking spiritual book, check out The Great Spiritual Awakening. The link is in the description. And in the next video, we will learn about how God is all-knowing. Click on the thumbnail to watch the video, and last but not least, have an amazing, wonderful day.